The ancient Egyptians, or Kem as they called themselves, uniquely saw statues. These weren't just art pieces. They were seen as living embodiments of gods, kings, and important figures. Imagine a world where a statue wasn't just stone, but a vessel containing a spirit. That was the Kemetic belief. These statues were places of prayer and offering. People believed they could interact with the divine through them. Their creation was a sacred art, with rituals and specific materials used. This deep connection between the spiritual and the physical makes the story of these statues even more tragic, because their destruction wasn't just about damaging art, it was about attacking the very essence of Kemetic identity. The human face holds a special power. It's the window to our soul, the way we recognize each other. Now, imagine that face, carved in stone, meant to connect the living with the divine. The nose, at the center, was crucial. In Kemetic thought, breath was life, and the nose was the pathway for that breath. To damage the nose was to sever that connection, to suffocate the spirit within. It was a deliberate act of disrespect, a way to silence the stories these statues told. The Europeans, who came to rule Egypt, didn't always understand this deep symbolism, but they understood power, and they knew that to control a people, you must first control their history, their gods, their very image. Colonialism was brutal. It wasn't just about taking land and resources. It was about taking away a people's identity. And what better way to do that than to attack their history? European powers, in their arrogance, saw Kemetic civilization as something to be conquered, not understood. The defacing of statues, particularly the breaking of noses, became a systematic tool of oppression. It was a way to say, your gods are false, your history is meaningless, your very image is wrong. This wasn't random vandalism, it was calculated cultural genocide. Museums across Europe and America are filled with these broken relics, trophies of a brutal past. Each chipped nose, each missing hand, is a silent scream against injustice, a reminder of the violence inflicted on a culture. Section 4. Echoes of Erasure. Expert perspectives on cultural violence. Scholars, archaeologists, and historians have begun to understand the true cost of this cultural vandalism. They recognize it for what it was, a deliberate attempt to erase Kemetic identity. The damage to these statues is a physical manifestation of the psychological violence inflicted on colonized people. Dr. Salima Ikram, a leading Egyptologist, notes that the defacement of ancient Egyptian monuments is not just about damaging stone, it is about silencing a civilization. Her words resonate deeply, reminding us that these acts were never just about aesthetics, but about power and control. This understanding is crucial, because it's not enough to simply acknowledge the damage. We must understand the motivation behind it, the arrogance of colonialism, the desire to dominate and erase. Only then can we truly appreciate the importance of restoring and protecting what remains. Section 5. Reclaiming the narrative. Restoring dignity to Kemetic heritage. Today, there's a growing movement to reclaim and restore African heritage. Across the continent and the diaspora, people are rediscovering their history, their culture, their identity. Part of this reclaiming is the physical restoration of these damaged statues. Using modern technology and traditional techniques, experts are piecing back together what was shattered. These efforts are about more than just aesthetics. They're about restoring dignity, respect, and recognition. Every repaired nose, every reattached limb is a victory against the forces of erasure. But restoration goes beyond the physical. It's also about reclaiming the narrative, telling the stories that were silenced, honoring the beliefs that were suppressed. We must listen to the voices of African scholars and communities, allowing them to speak their truth, to reinterpret their history on their own terms. Section 6. A legacy denied is a future imperiled. The urgency of preservation. Preserving Kemetic history is not just about the past, it's about the present and the future. When we allow a culture's heritage to be destroyed, we lose a part of ourselves. We lose the richness and diversity of human experience. We lose the lessons of the past. the wisdom that can guide us in the present. The fight against cultural erasure is a fight for justice, for recognition, for the future. It's a fight that requires us to be vigilant, to challenge those who seek to control and erase, to protect and preserve the legacy of our ancestors. The broken noses of Kemetic statues stand as a stark reminder of the fragility of history, the enduring legacy of colonialism, and the urgent need to protect cultural heritage. We must not allow these acts of violence to continue, either physically or through the continued silencing of African voices. Section 7. Honoring the past, shaping the future. A call to action. Learning about Kemetic civilization is not just an academic exercise. It's an act of resistance. It's about reclaiming a stolen narrative, honoring a silenced past, and shaping a more just and equitable future. We must all commit to learning, understanding, and celebrating the richness and complexity of Kemetic culture. Visit museums, support African scholars, read books by African authors, and engage in meaningful conversations about the importance of cultural preservation. Let us be the generation that breaks the cycle of erasure, that honors the past, and builds a future where all cultures are respected and celebrated. The broken noses of Kemetic statues are a call to action. They remind us that the fight for cultural justice is ongoing, and that we all have a role to play. Let us answer that call with open hearts, open minds, and a commitment to preserving the richness and diversity of human history for generations to come. Thanks for watching. Let peace flourish freely in our lives.